You know how life has a way of just happening? A car suddenly needs a repair, a medical bill shows up out of nowhere, or the roof decides to leak. The real question isn't if these things will happen, it's when. So today, we're going to build the ultimate financial shock absorber, your emergency fund. Let's dive in.
Okay, let this number sink in for a second. This is exactly why we're talking about this. A 2024 bank rate survey found that almost half of all Americans would be in a tough spot with a surprise $1,000 bill. And get this, the average emergency actually costs more like $1,400. That's a massive source of stress, and it's the exact problem we're going to solve right now.
And this is the solution. An emergency fund is way more than just a savings account. Think of it as a dedicated pot of cash set aside for one reason and one reason only, to handle those unplanned, unwelcome financial hits. It's the buffer between a "pew, that was close" moment and a full-blown crisis.
So why is this so important? Why do you hear financial experts hammering on about this being the absolute foundation of your financial life, sometimes even before you get aggressive with investing?
Well, because without this cushion, a single bad day can set off a total catastrophe. You're forced to rack up high-interest credit card debt, kicking off what some people call a death spiral of debt, or even worse, you have to sell your investments at the worst possible time. An emergency fund is literally the shield that protects everything else you're trying to build. All right, let's get practical. You always hear people say, save 3 to 6 months of expenses. But what on earth does that actually mean? Let's figure out what your specific target number looks like. Now, this right here is a really crucial distinction. We are not talking about saving for your full lifestyle budget. Nope. Your emergency fund is based on a lean, mean survival budget. We're talking just the absolute must-haves to keep the lights on and a roof over your head. This one little shift makes the goal feel so much more possible. So once you have that survival budget number, you can use this simple 3-6-9 rule to find your personal target. If you've got a really stable job and your life is pretty straightforward, maybe 3 months is your sweet spot. But if you own a home or have a family, 6 months is the standard. And for all you self-employed folks or single-income families out there, having a bigger 9-month buffer, well, that's some serious peace of mind.
I know what you're thinking. That 3 to 6 month number can feel huge, like completely overwhelming. So for just a minute, let's forget about it. The real secret to getting there is to break that huge goal down into small, bite-sized milestones that make you feel like you're winning along the way.
And here's the path. We start with a quick win, your first $500. That's your starter shield. Then we push for that big psychological milestone, $1,000. Once you hit that, your next goal is 1 full month of your survival expenses. After that, you're on the home stretch. See? Each step is a victory, and it builds momentum. And this is exactly why that $1,000 milestone is so powerful. It's not just some random number. It's enough cash to handle most of the common little disasters that pop up and derail people. You know, the flat tire, the unexpected trip to the doctor. It lets you handle it without even breaking a sweat. It's a massive turning point. Okay, so you're saving the money, which is awesome. But where you keep it is just as important as saving it in the first place. We're looking for a spot that's safe and easy to get to in a pinch, but not so easy that you're tempted to dip into it for a pizza night. For pretty much everyone, the answer is a high-yield savings account. We call it an HYSA. And this chart just lays it all out. I mean, look at the difference in growth. With an HYSA, your emergency fund is actually working for you, earning real interest that helps fight off inflation. You get the same safety with way more growth. It's a total no-brainer. Now, let's be crystal clear about where this money should never live. Your emergency fund is about safety, not about gambling for high returns. So that means no stocks, no crypto. It needs to be available at a moment's notice. So locked up CDs are out. And please, whatever you do, don't just leave it in your checking account where it can get spent by accident. This money needs its own separate, protected home. So we know how much we need, and we know where we're going to put it. Now, for the million-dollar question, what are the best, most effective ways to actually get the money in there? Here are the top 4 tactics, and let me tell you, the first one is the undisputed champion, automated. Just set up a transfer from your checking to your savings for every payday, and then forget it even exists. You can also treat it like any other bill you have to pay each month. And be smart about surprise money. Any bonus or tax refund, it goes straight into the fund before you even have time to think about it. This quote from Dalbar Research perfectly sums up why automation is so powerful. It's not about having more willpower. It's about building a smarter system that makes saving the default choice. You're basically outsmarting your own brain to do the right thing without even trying. Okay, you did it. You built the fund, it's sitting there, ready to protect you. But that brings up a really important question. When is it actually okay to use it? We need some clear rules of engagement.
Rule number 1, the expense has to be a true surprise. Your annual car insurance payment, holiday gifts, those aren't emergencies, they're predictable. You should be budgeting for those things separately. A great way to do that is with something called sinking funds, which are just little savings buckets for specific future costs. That way, your main fund stays pure for real emergencies.
Second question, is it absolutely necessary? A surprise sale on a new TV is not necessary, but a busted pipe that's flooding your kitchen? Yeah, that's necessary. This is all about protecting your health, your home, or your ability to get to work and earn a living.
And the final check, is it urgent? This just means that if you wait to pay for it, things will get worse or a lot more expensive. If it's something that can wait a week or a month, then you have time to figure out a plan that doesn't involve raiding your safety net.
So the day finally comes. A true emergency hits. You use the fund, and it works exactly like it was supposed to. It saves you from debt and a whole lot of stress. First off, that's a huge win. But your job isn't quite done. What you do next is just as important.
The key is having a simple plan to refill it without any stress. First, just take a second and appreciate that your plan worked. Then, for a little while, you might pause other savings goals, like investing, and just focus all your firepower on rebuilding that safety net. Automate the deposits again and make refilling it your #1 priority. So what can you do right now, like today, to get this ball rolling? Here's your checklist. First, figure out that bare-bones survival budget number. Then, go open a high-yield savings account. Seriously, it takes 5 minutes online. Name it something clear like emergency fund, do not touch. Set up an automatic transfer for every payday, even if it's just $25. Make it your mission to hit that first $1,000 milestone, and once you do, you can start splitting your savings, maybe 70% to finish your fund and 30% toward investing. It's these small steps that create massive change.
At the end of the day, this isn't really about being paranoid about what might go wrong. It's about building a foundation that gives you the freedom and the confidence to go after your goals, knowing you've got a safety net to catch you. It's about trading fear for security. So the only question left is, what's the very first step you're going to take?